Hello everybody, John12 back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you my official review for Dragon Ball Super Episode 17. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out, because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into Dragon Ball Super. Now, obviously, before I get into my actual review, I wanted to comment and reply to a specific YouTuber who continuously comments on my Dragon Ball Super reviews, asking me to leave links to the actual episodes. First off, I can't do that because I'm not allowed to do that, so sorry, I can't give you a link to the specific episodes I'm reviewing. However, it doesn't take a genius to find these episodes. I'm not trying to sound like a douche, but it's kind of true. I mean, like, this is all you gotta do, sir. And I did a public comment, but just in case you didn't read it, I'm gonna say it out loud. This is all you have to do. Open up a new browser, type in google.com, go to the Google search bar, and just type in Dragon Ball Super Episode 1, or 2, or 3, or all the way to 16, and just look. And then you'll find a specific website, very relatively quick and easy, to a subbed, or, specifically an English subbed version of Dragon Ball Super. So, that's pretty much all you got to do. I don't want to continuously talk about this because I don't want to sound like even more of a douche, but that's all I really have to say, because I keep getting that same comment of like, put a link in the description. I can't do that, sir. I'm not allowed to do that kind of stuff. So with that being said, it's also not relatively hard and difficult to find an episode. But that being said, let's get into Dragon Ball Super Episode 17. Now, getting into this episode in the specific review, this episode is obviously dedicated to two specific factors. Number one, the birth of Pan. Now, obviously, this episode takes place some significant time after the last episode, which I found kind of weird. I mean, like, we're definitely entering the Resurrection F, part and section of this series. And you can definitely tell that characters are definitely transitioning. I'm surprised it took this. I'm surprised how much time they took in between last episode and this one. However, regardless of any of that, Pan has been born, and the second part of this overall episode is pretty much Goku trying to find a way to go to Beerus's world for special training from Whis. Seeing as how that he found out that Vegeta is on Beerus's planet training with Whis, he wants to go over there to train as well. So that's pretty much the overall story plot of this episode. And the only thing I can really say is this was probably the most disappointing episode I've seen on Dragon Ball Super as of yet. And this review may borderline to a rant, but I want everyone to bear with me and not immediately dislike this video after just hearing everything I have to say. Number one, getting into this episode, when I first saw the teaser, the first thing that came to my mind was I was thinking that this episode would be fully dedicated to Gohan. I know a lot of other Dragon Ball YouTubers kind of went crazy with the whole like predictions and speculations, like, oh, is Goku doing this? I didn't go that far because I felt that was kind of stupid. However, I felt like this episode was fully a Gohan episode, considering the fact that Pan is now born, and based off the teaser, we were getting some kind of Great Saiyaman kind of thing, and I felt like Gohan was going to actually have to do something in this episode, because let's face it, Gohan, regardless of being like the number one most popular character of all Dragon Ball Z, over the last run of Dragon Ball's popularity, Gohan has definitely gotten the bad end of the stick in the fucking awesome, department. And of course, this series has definitely not done justice to the character of Gohan. I mean, I can pretty much go on a limb here and say that. And if there's one character that definitely needs a POV episode on how badass he could really be, it's definitely Gohan. And Piccolo to a certain extent, but mostly Gohan. But that being said, I really felt like this episode was going to just highlight Gohan, and I almost felt like it was going to be like almost like a social commentary on the Gohan character, where there's a specific section, spoilers, there's like a specific part where like Hercule is like taking care of Pan, and then like Gohan just comes in the room, and then he just like becomes the Great Saiyaman for some god awful reason, and then he like highlights a specific part of his day where he's just like. Where it's just highlights what Gohan does on a regular basis, where it's like he takes care of Pan and he's a professor and he's like teaching stuff, which I guess to a certain extent doesn't really make that much sense, seeing as how Capsule Corp creates everything, so it's like, why teach anything? But anyways, technology is weird in that world, but who gives a shit? It's Dragon Ball, it's anime. But with that being said, I felt like that was like a commentary on like, okay, Gohan is basically being self-aware. He's being like, okay, he's like almost like talking to the fan base of the Gohan, the hardcore fan base of Gohan, where it's like he's just saying publicly, look, I know I'm a giant weenie, but I can still be cool, right? And I felt like right after that, I thought he was going to do some shit. I felt like he was going to, put on the suit and he was going to go out and like start saving people or something, like kind of how he did back in the Boo Saga or whatever, or hell, even what he did in Wrath of the Dragon in that movie, which I think is still a phenomenal Dragon Ball Z movie. But that being said, the second that happens, the episode takes a giant turn for the worst. It's just completely boring, stupid, unnecessary, and the only thing I can really say is I give up on Gohan. Now, if you ask me that question, do you give up on Gohan and give two shits about him at the beginning of this series? I would have said go fuck yourself. I love Gohan. He's awesome. I mean, yeah, Battle of Gods was, it wasn't his best moment, and Resurrection F, he had some cool moments, and I will admit that he looks goofy or whatever, but, it's an anime. What are you gonna, it's an anime. This episode definitely highlights the fact that Gohan is an unnecessary character. And I'm sorry to say that out loud to all the hardcore DBZ fans, and I'm sorry to say that even to myself, it's almost blasphemy. However, he just does not matter anymore. It's harsh, but it's true. It's a fact. Gohan does not matter anymore as of this episode. And I feel like I understand why. It's because of Hercule, and let me explain why. I feel like the fact that Hercule is such a big part of not only this series for some god-awful reason, but because he's such a big, part of the Gohan household now, he has started imitating what Hercule kind of does to a certain extent, which I found weird. It's just like, Gohan is too a part of the real world. He doesn't do anything that's a part of the Dragon Ball world. He freaking, he's play fighting with Hercule. There's like a part in the episode where he's like imitating Hercule and they're like play fighting and shit. It's just god awful. And then I'm just saying, here's the thing. This is what you do. You want Gohan to be popular again, to be a badass? This is what you do. I know how to do it. Kill him off. Just do it. Don't wish him back with a dragon, but just kill him off for good, for like a good year. Or like a good year in the series, for like an entire saga. Like for the entire Resurrection F saga, just kill him off and just don't bring him back for like a year. Once that year is done, bring him back, but bring him back with entirely different design, because it's Gohan. Toriyama loves to redesign the character every fucking year he changes. So bring him back with an entirely different design that's hopefully badass, kind of similar to how he looked in like the fucking History of Trunks special. Bring him back like that, and then boom, there you go. Gohan's badass again. Everybody loves him. He does some cool shit. Everybody's grown up. There you go. That's how you make Gohan relevant again. Because that's what they do with Goku. Whenever Goku stops being relevant, they take him out, let some time for breathing, and then bring him back. And that's how Goku continuously stays a popular and fair character. They don't do that with Gohan. They just have him there. And he has so much time of not doing anything that he's become irrelevant. So I think the best way to do this, approach this specific topic, is just kill him off, don't wish him back, and then bring him back, but bring him back at a certain point after an entire saga is done, and then hopefully just make him more badass once he's back. Just basically wait until the time period of History of Trunks, and just bring that version of Gohan back from the dead. You know, I feel like that's just the superior way to go. That's just me. But that being said, let's get into the second half. Besides me ranting about Gohan, let's get into the second half of the episode, which is obviously all about Goku. Now, Goku, after figuring out that Whis has been training Vegeta, Vegeta's on Beerus' planet, he wants to do so too, because, let's face it, Goku's a master at training, but he's also a master at forgetting the fact that he's a fucking family man, and he needs to fucking leave his family every fucking saga, which is, you know, the hardcore fact of the fucking character, and also hilarious fact. But I just found it kind of odd, where it's like the second Goku found out that Vegeta was training with Whis, he just immediately snapped. I think like the part where Bulma is talking with Videl and Chi-Chi, and Goku, like, the second he figures out about Whis and Vegeta and training and all that stuff, he breaks right through the wall and he's, like, so excited. I feel like that's the only moment in this episode where it got me. It was the only funny moment, and it was the only good moment. Besides that, everything else was completely nonsense, but, regardless of any of that, it's just Goku, the second half is pretty much just Goku trying to find a way to train with Whis. That's the overall concept of this episode. It's pretty much what these last couple of episodes have been, is just filler episodes to transition to Resurrection F, which I fully comprehend. They're filler episodes. They're not meant to be awesome like the Hercule episode or the Vegeta episode or this Gohan / Goku episode. They're not meant, or Pan episode if you will, I don't know. They're not meant to be the best episodes of Super. They're filler. However, I wish they could have at least done something good. You know, at least last episode, I know a lot of people were like, oh, Vegeta, I like that fucking episode. I thought it was pretty funny as hell, and plus, I said it once and I'll say it a dozen times. Every episode that's dedicated to Vegeta is the best on this fucking show. The ones that are not suck. It's the truth. And so far, these episodes just haven't been doing justice to the name of Dragon Ball, and this episode especially. This episode just sucks ass. I just don't like it. It's boring. It just doesn't make any sense. The animation's crudely drawn. I mean, like, there's parts in this episode where the animation and artwork is super sketchy, and it almost looks like they cropped the storyboard so much that everyone looks like 10 times thinner. Like, even Goku looks super thin. Like, Bulma, she's like stretched out and super thin. Like, Gohan, he's already super thin. Fuck, whatever. We're not talking about Gohan anymore. And, like, everybody just looks super, like, stretched out and thin and sketchy. This episode was just not good. I just didn't like it. I thought it was a complete waste of time. And I really had high hopes, because I felt like, when I saw the teaser, I felt like this was going to be Gohan's time to shine. I felt like this, like, now that he's a father, he's going to have an episode dedicated to himself, because he deserves that. However, it kind of gives you that in the first part of this episode, and then it just stops, because it's almost like the writers or animators of this, or directors of this fucking episode was just like, wait, we're talking about Gohan? Fuck that shit. We need to get back to Goku. Fuck him. And it kind of felt like that. And I felt like that was just very disrespectful to the Gohan character. And I feel like this episode made Gohan look worse than any of the other movies, or even the Buu saga or whatever. Like, at least in that stuff, he's a badass and he's doing stuff. This episode, and specifically this series, Gohan is worthless, and I just don't give a shit about it anymore. And, of course, moving off then, the whole Goku section just highlighted the fact that, you know, Goku just hates being with his family and just wants to train all day. I mean, granted, that's the core fact of the character, and it's a hilarious fact. I said that once already. However, I just thought it was weird how they presented it. It's almost like they were making fun of themselves on how much Goku loves leaving his family. Like, there's a spoiler, but there's like a part in the episode where just Goku's just like getting attacked by Chi-Chi, because Chi-Chi obviously doesn't want Goku to train. He wants him to stay and take care of his granddaughter Pan or whatever, who's just been born, for fuck's sake, granted. And the second Whis is about to leave, he's just like, he pushes Chi-Chi away and then just starts running, and he's just like, peace, and then just fucking leaves. It's like, who the fuck made this episode? This is stupid. I mean, granted, Goku does this a lot, but at least he has the decency to be like, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. You know, he's stoic. I'm hero, Goku, need to leave, training now, yes. This time it's just like, peace. He's like, we're not having kids anymore, fuck you, bitch. And he just leaves. Like, what the fuck? This episode is terrible. I'm sorry. As a hardcore fan, I hate myself for saying that, but it is true. It's just a terrible episode. I did not like it. The animation sucked. The artwork sucked. The story sucked. The direction sucked. Gohan, terrible character. Absolutely. Goku made no sense, and the way they got him to Whis' planet was terrible. At least with Vegeta, they did a nice episode, a nice comedic episode, you know, figuring out how he gets to Whis' planet. But Goku, he's just like, he just feels needy, and he's just absurd, and he's just like bothering everybody, and it's just terrible. I just did not like this episode. Obviously, I'm pretty sure my opinion will differ with others, but that's just my subjective opinion. I did not like this episode. So my final verdict is a 4 out of 10. A solid 4 out of 10. Disappointing episode. The best way I can explain it is this episode, episode 17, is essentially the number one episode of Dragon Ball Super that you can have playing in the background while doing other shit. Like if you're doing homework or texting your girlfriend or fucking whacking it or something, I don't know. That's an episode you have playing in the background. That's what you do. So, that being said, that's all I have to say about Dragon Ball Super episode 17. Hopefully next week is a lot better. Based off the teaser, shit will be going down. Goku and Vegeta are obviously training with Whis, doing their Karate Kid training. You know, fucking awesome. We're definitely transitioning to Resurrection F stuff. You know, we see some Resurrection F characters coming in. And hell, Champa's coming to town. Fucking finally. Can't wait for next week. Definitely. Next week definitely looks like an episode where shit's, you know, finally getting the high gear. And I can't wait. The only question I really have is whether or not we're going to go full-on Resurrection F, or are we just going to skip the Frieza stuff and go directly to Champa stuff? Because apparently, based off the teaser of next week episode, we're going to get both Champa and the Frieza stuff. So, I don't know how it's fully going to work out, but I'm just happy that we're finally getting closer to where the manga is, which is obviously last chapter, chapter 5. If you have not seen that, definitely go check out that because it's fucking badass. And hell, the tournament, you know, Champa's tournament is coming soon, and Goku's gonna have to fucking train hard as fuck and start taking out all the characters. It's gonna be badass. But that being said, comment below. Let me know what you personally thought about this episode alone. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you completely disagree with everything I had to say? What are your personal thoughts on Gohan as a character? And of course, Goku's inability to be a true father. Also, let me know your personal thoughts on Chapter 5 of the manga. What are your personal thoughts on the tournament? How do you feel Goku's training and all the various characters do you want to see? Who's going to be on Team Goku for the tournament? Let me know your personal thoughts. And of course, comment below. Let me know your personal speculations for future episodes, and specifically next week's episode where Champa and Resurrection F characters are finally coming to town. And that being said, just comment below, let me know what you personally think. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Josh12.